Welcome back to K-Drama Cycle, where we bring you the untold stories, the hidden emotions, and the shocking truths behind your favorite stars. Today's story is one that fans never expected. It is filled with love, sacrifice, and choices that have changed the lives of two beloved stars forever. This is the story of Shen Yue's sacrifice and what she gave up for Dylan Wang's career. Let's begin. For years, Dylan Wang and Shen Yue have been linked together in ways that fans cannot ignore. Their chemistry on-screen was undeniable, their presence off-screen undeniable as well. While both insisted that they were just colleagues and friends, the truth behind the scenes was far deeper. Shen Yue and Dylan Wang shared a connection that was far more than just professional. But when two rising stars find themselves in the spotlight, everything they do is judged, magnified, and analyzed. For Dylan Wang, his career was just beginning to soar. He had the pressure of becoming one of the most recognizable faces of a new generation of Chinese actors. Every choice he made mattered. Every rumor could either build him up or destroy him. And that is where Shen Yue stepped in. According to those close to the situation, Shen Yue made a painful choice. She stepped back, quietly, without drama, without a fight, so Dylan could shine without distraction. She knew that if their closeness was revealed, it could overshadow his career, bring controversy, and limit the opportunities that were already opening up for him. So she gave up something precious, her chance at openly sharing her true feelings. Behind the cameras, Shen Yue supported Dylan in ways that fans never saw. She encouraged him when the pressure became too much, when hate comments filled his social media, when expectations nearly broke him. She was there as a friend, as a confidant, as something much more than the public will ever know. But in return, she had to give up opportunities for herself. There were scripts, projects, and roles that she declined, not because she didn't want them, but because she didn't want rumors about her and Dylan to become fuel for gossip columns. She sacrificed her own rise, choosing instead to protect Dylan's image, his growth, his future. And Dylan knew. He knew what she was giving up for him. He knew the weight she carried silently. That is why, in interviews, when asked about Shen Yue, his words always carried a softness, a respect, and a careful warmth that fans could sense but not explain. Shen Yue's sacrifice was not just professional. It was personal. She gave up her own happiness, moments where she could have been by Dylan's side publicly, openly, without fear. Instead, she chose to love him quietly, in the shadows, so that he could shine under the brightest light. But as time passed, this silence came with its own pain. Shen Yue often faced criticism from the public. Some said she was fading, some questioned her choices, some even mocked her for not chasing fame as aggressively as others. But little did they know, her sacrifices were intentional, and they were for someone she deeply cared about. And now, whispers are growing louder. Fans who have followed their journey from the beginning are starting to piece things together. They see the quiet glances, the unspoken support, and the undeniable respect they continue to have for one another. They believe Shen Yue's sacrifices were not in vain. The real question now is this: will Dylan Wang ever step forward and acknowledge what Shen Yue gave up for him? Will he risk it all, at the height of his fame, to finally stand by her side publicly? Or will Shen Yue remain the hidden hero of his success story, remembered only by those who look deep enough to see the truth? What is clear is this: Shen Yue's sacrifice is a story of love, of loyalty, and of choices that only those who truly care can make. And whether or not the world ever sees the full truth, fans know that behind Dylan Wang's success stands Shen Yue, silent, strong, and unforgettable. This is not just a love story. This is a story of sacrifice, of strength, and of what it truly means to care for someone more than yourself. And that is the untold story of Shen Yue's sacrifice for Dylan Wang's career. Stay tuned, because here at K-Drama Cycle, we will continue to follow this journey, uncover the truths, and bring you the stories the world is waiting to hear. Beyond the gossip and straight into the heart of the story. Today, we continue uncovering the hidden truths behind Dylan Wang and Shen Yue and the sacrifices that shaped their journey. Earlier, we talked about Shen Yue's quiet sacrifice, how she chose to step aside so Dylan's career could flourish without the weight of rumors and distractions. But there's more to this story than what meets the eye. What Shen Yue gave up went far beyond opportunities and career moves. It reached into her personal life, her identity, and the way she wanted to live her life as a woman, as an actress, and as someone who deeply cared for Dylan Wang. Let's dive deeper. At the height of their popularity together, when fans couldn't stop shipping them after Meteor Garden, the industry saw a golden opportunity. Producers wanted them to reunite for dramas, brands wanted to pair them up for endorsements, and fans demanded constant updates. To the outside world, this looked like a dream. But for Shen Yue, it became a heavy burden. Why? Because every step she took risked being tied back to Dylan. If she accepted a role with him, people would accuse her of riding his fame. If she declined, people would say she wasn't good enough. If she appeared too close in public, rumors would spread uncontrollably. If she kept her distance, fans would claim they had a falling out. It was a no-win situation. And so, Shen Yue made a difficult choice to protect Dylan, even if it meant becoming misunderstood. She intentionally distanced herself in certain public settings, avoided projects that would spark too much speculation, and stayed silent even when rumors were cruel. But behind closed doors, her role in Dylan's life was undeniable. Sources close to the two have shared that Shen Yue was the one he often turned to during his toughest moments. When he felt the crushing weight of fame, when hate comments tore into his confidence, Shen Yue was the steady voice reminding him of who he truly was. She gave him the courage to keep going. But in exchange, she carried the heartbreak of never being acknowledged for it. Fans who look closely have noticed subtle clues. Dylan's interviews often hold quiet moments where he pauses before speaking about Shen Yue, as if guarding words that mean more than he can say publicly. Shen Yue, on the other hand, avoids speaking about him directly, but her actions tell a bigger story. Choosing smaller projects, staying out of the spotlight for periods, and focusing on growth outside of constant fame, all choices that reflect sacrifice. And what about love? Here's where the story becomes even more heartbreaking. Insiders claim that Shen Yue and Dylan shared a bond far deeper than friendship, but it was one that could never fully bloom in public. Every relationship in the entertainment world is difficult, but theirs was tied to millions of fans, contracts, and industry politics. To reveal their truth could have risked everything Dylan worked for. And so, Shen Yue chose silence. Imagine loving someone so much that you are willing to give up your own recognition, your own opportunities, and even your own happiness, just so that person can succeed. That is the quiet reality Shen Yue lived through. But there's another side to this story. Dylan Wang is not blind to Shen Yue's sacrifices. He has carried guilt, and fans believe that guilt shows in his actions. The respect he gives her in interviews, the way he never allows anyone to speak badly of her, and the small but meaningful gestures when they do cross paths in public. Dylan may not say it out loud, but those who look closely know. He owes much of his strength to her. Now, fans are asking, when will Dylan repay this sacrifice? When will he finally step forward and acknowledge Shen Yue, not just as a colleague, but as the woman who helped him stand tall in the face of fame? The story doesn't end here, because whispers suggest that Shen Yue may finally be ready to reclaim her own path. She has begun accepting more diverse roles, stepping into projects that let her shine independently. Some believe this is her way of saying, it's time for her to stop hiding in the shadows. And perhaps, just perhaps, Dylan may one day have to face the choice she faced years ago. Will he be willing to sacrifice his image, his carefully built career, to give Shen Yue the recognition she deserves? What fans see today is only the surface. But behind Dylan Wang's success lies Shen Yue's quiet strength, her unspoken love, and her sacrifices that shaped his journey. This story is not just about fame. It's about loyalty. It's about love tested by fire. And it's about the sacrifices we make for the people we care about, even when the world may never know the full truth. So, the question remains, was Shen Yue's sacrifice worth it? Or will history remember her as the woman who gave up her own light so Dylan Wang could shine brighter? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Shen Yue's story is not over. And neither is Dylan Wang's. Here at K-Drama Cycle, we'll be watching closely, bringing you the updates, the truth, and the journey that continues to captivate fans across the world. Stay tuned, because this story is far from finished.